Dear Facebook, dear Mr. Zuckerberg, how you like that? Huh? Surely I'm not American citizen, and when I say words like with your mongols you can do whatever you wish, your bio and genetic weapon Nazi. What do you understand on cases like that? When I say Nazis, I mean Nazis. Yes. Can you imagine that they exist, human, who sit behind a computer day and night and get paid by the government? And what is their job? What is their job? Wasting our time? No. I want to complain about you and your behavior. What do you think? That victims of German war crimes, which they did, which they're still doing, Yes. Can you imagine that? That the German country also got a project running, secretly organized by the government? Yes. That combination, where you as victim feel precisely like you're sitting in a wireless concentration camp run by the Nazis, military Nazis. Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Once you have access to human bodies, does the victim, gives a permission that the government Computernazis can step inside your body and reach, for instance, your sleeping cells? And are able, and did that, stimulate me into deep sleep, which actually took between 10 and 15 minutes. But those wicked coward German Nazis, they don't want that anyone knows that they know how to do things like that. And once you become a victim, you don't exist. Because when somebody stimulates you into deep sleep within 10 and 15 minutes, what are you doing as a human being? Accept that? Or fight against that Nazi who did that? And the minister who made that possible? Yes, this combination of an embedded, microscopic brain chip is inside the neck. And from the neck, they climb inside the brain cells, searching inside your brain. And they found out, they have the software program, which they can able, with who they are able to stimulate you into deep sleep within 15 minutes at your working place. And what you do if once you are a victim of things like that, you go to the police. At least I did. That happened in 1991. Yes. I was working as a repairing mechanic at my working place. And in about 10 o'clock in the morning, they did that. They stimulate me into deep sleep, and I found myself sleeping at my working place. Like I said, 1991. You know? And what happened then, when I was there, sleeping at my working place? They sent the video inside my dreaming cells. They had some pressure in their minds. They didn't wait till I fell down to sleep and stimulate that video like they used to do inside the dreaming cells. No. They had some pressure. They have to do this in the morning. You know? Yes. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Had my breakfast. Sit on my bicycle and drove to my working place. That was a electricity facility, water engine, where they use the power of the water to win electricity. There I was working, you know, and what do you do when the police and the prosecutor close a case? They don't investigate who stimulate you into deep sleep. Yes. Because, you know, this wireless connection you don't see. It's like when somebody make a phone call on your handy and doesn't show the number. You know, things like that. And those Nazis, they're sitting day and night behind that computer machine. And it's not only the sleeping cells, you know, which they read, which they reach. No. In 1996, that Nazi, that computer Nazi, working on bioweapon, really bioweapon, stimulate human beings into deep sleep. In 1996, that Nazi rat had also access to my smelling cells. He tortured me with active poison inside my smelling cells. And you know, that time he had already access to my listening cells, to my hearing cells, which he programmed as well. And he were talking inside my head. You know what he said? If you smell that, run as quick as possible away from here. The dirty coward Nazi. You know? He's torturing inside the smelling cells, and then he give instruction what to do. Can you see how sick that Nazi is? Confiscating human beings, and how you feel about. And anyhow, what you doing if you can't fight against them? Because it is a government project, Yes. First they place the mind secretly inside the body, and then they build a connection to that embedded chip, and then they search inside the brain cells inside the entire nerve system. And what can they do? Also, not only stimulate me into deep sleep. That was, like I said, in 1991. In 1993, that dirty rotten Nazi, he prepared other things, torture, inside the listening cells. Yes. And in 1996, that dirty Nazi, during that time, he were already talking inside my head. Yes. He kept me awake. He kept me awake. For a fucking whole week. He tortured me into coma. Huh? What kind of technique we talking about? Is it a computer, bioweapon? When you stimulate people wherever they go, whenever they want, into deep sleep, would you accept that? As business leader? Would you? And you don't know where they are? Where's their working place? Huh? From which city they dialing inside your head? Huh? For the German police, they don't care. They don't investigate. Huh? And the damage they did. When you start losing things out of your memory, huh? How you classify things like that? Huh? Untraceable, those Nazis. Huh? Untraceable means if you apply, if you ask the police for help, and the prosecutors would say yes, huh? You have to search inside the frequencies, the wireless frequencies, also even the military satellite. Huh? In these cases, huh? The interim minister, no, they don't investigate. Huh? Yes. And now to Facebook, you know, when the government didn't help you, you know, we have a system in Germany which means if one prosecutor closes a case, you can fight against that decision. And comes the next prosecutor. Huh? And if he also closes that case, huh, then you can fight against his decision. Then the third prosecutor arrived, the highest in that local city, in that local place where you are living, you know, like Texas. Huh? You live in Texas, or you live in Illinois or something, a local. Huh? The highest prosecutor of this local place closed the case. So, you lost. Huh? Then you can try whatever you want. Huh? And if you describe, I mean, it's different if you read, if you write some words down and make a video, huh? And the things I say in this video now, Mr. Zuckerberg, huh? These are testimony under oath against the German government. So, huh? And when they're doing these things with me, they are able to do this with each one who wear an embedded chip like that. Huh? Yes. And when he said, run as quick as possible away from here, huh? He treated me like his machine. The dirty Nazi. Yes. and he don't leave the body alone. He has also access to the asshole, you know? He climb on the nerves and the muscles which lock your assholes. He reads those muscles and he send electricity in there and lock the asshole. Yes, that happened also in 1996. It was locked. I couldn't go on toilet anymore. After the second day, I couldn't drink. I couldn't eat anymore. And my darms, you know, my stomach, everything is swollen. And on the third day, I was down on the ground and have pain. Every move of the body, doesn't matter what. It hurt so much that you have pain, that you have tears in your eyes. Yes, and then the stomach liquid coming up. What kind of crime is that? Is it a crime? I mean, what would you do? I mean, for you it's no problem. You know? For you it's no problem. You have your team. You have your experts. You have your lawyers. You have all kind of technology. And if you don't know about any kind of technology, you reach your knowledge. You know, it's very easy for you as a rich man. You know, you run that company. And, of course, corrupt politicians like Olaf Scholz. You know, dirty, rotten politician like Olaf Scholz and his National Security Agency team, working on things like that. Genetic weapon, that's another thing, but stimulating human beings into coma is at least a bioweapon, which a Nazi, from his computer, have access to your body and slave trading you as human being. And you can't stop that, Nazis. There's no protection, you know. If you go in underground, somewhere, underground, the system is calculated, you know. The signal is getting stronger. When they notice it's getting less. You know, it's automatic system. Yes. So you don't have any kind of opportunity to protect your body, to protect your brain cells. Yes. And how many more crimes would you? No? All? I mean, never let you blackmail by corrupt German Nazi politicians. You know, under the time of Olaf Scholz, that Computernazi rat, he really asked me to go in Ukraine. And what we know about people who used to go in Ukraine? I'm not a soldier. I never served the fucking Nazi army. Never. But, when he asked me, to go in Ukraine, that time was Miss Lambrecht, defense minister. What shall I do in Ukraine, you know? What do you want me there for? You want winning images out of the visible cells? Huh? Yes? Things like that. And when a rocket, a bomb is hitting the place where I am, what happened then? You know, the long-term tortured victims does not exist anymore. And by that means, by that matter, those Nazis, they protect the government. They never commit any kind of war crimes. They don't work on bioweapon. They don't work on genetic weapon. Bioweapon, it's okay. But those Nazi rats also are able from the computer to change the genetic structure. Yes, they change the genes from their computer. Yes. The first time I noticed things like that was in 1992, when I stand in front of a mirror and I saw it on my left eye, on my left pupil, that the iris structure has become different. Yes, this I noticed that time. Yeah? And after he stimulated me into deep sleep, what was his why? And suddenly he started keeping me awake. Start in 1993. After I went to the police and asked the prosecutor for help. He knew precisely nothing happened to him. That wicked coward Nazi. He knows that precisely. Who controls the interim minister? The national security, the military security. The military secret service control all interim minister. Yes. Normally it's different. Yeah. But in things like that, where German Nazis having new wireless concentration camps, and where Mr. Mengele is inside your head, is inside your entire body. And when they send electricity inside your teeth, you know? I mean, when you say something like that, of course, ladies like Ursula von der Leyen, who once were head of that Nazi group for years, what is her attempt? When I talk about Ukraine, the European community offer membership to the European community, and then Nazi ladies like Ursula von der Leyen, who knows precisely what's going on that bioweapon, genetic weapon, where you, as human, a fucking camera system run by Nazis behind a computer. And can you imagine? I go in Ukraine, I'm gone. And that Nazi behind the computer, he's still behind the computer. You see? He don't give a damn. He really don't give a damn. He only think about a military strategic Nazi to spread this bioweapon, this gain weapon, also in Ukraine, and integrate human brain cells there as well in that fucking Nazi machine. even if it's NATO property. Yes. In 1993, I was in Turkey. I made vacation. I stayed there for about 5 months. You know? And I also were tortured in Turkey. Yes, in Adana at the time. That was the first time in 1993 when I hear a crystal clear spoken words. But that wasn't a German language. That was an American language. That was an American soldier who were able to talk inside my head. You know, wasn't much. He only said, close that door in the room I was living that time. You know, and my reaction, since 1987, those Nazis torture me inside my dreaming cells by programming movies and senses movies inside my dreaming cells. Yes. And then 6 years later, when I make vacation in Turkey, you know, then the first time an American language, American man tried to give me some order or, let's say, advice. I was living in a room, and it was in the summertime, very hot, and I let the door open to get some fresh air, yes, and then he said, close the door. Nothing more. And because of my experience I had that time already, six years of torture, yes? For me it's torture. 6 years. And then I said, sorry, I don't take any kind of military order. You know what happened 2 days later at the same place where I was sleeping? They torture me again inside my dreaming cells. And you know how ugly those Nazis are? I was sitting in a poor chamber, like a garage or something. Yes, there was no painting at the wall, no window in that room. I found myself sitting on the ground, you know, and I noticed I was sad, unhappy, really sad, you know, frustrated, depressed or something, I don't know. I wasn't in reality, but when they start torture me with that movie which they programmed, in that movie I was sad, depressed, unhappy, or whatever you call it, and then I saw a revolver in front of me. I picked up the revolver, pointed at my chest, and shot me twice in my chest. You know? This is how the Nazis work. They torture with things I get. I don't know. Perhaps that American who speak inside my head want to ask something, or want to know anything, I don't know. But they just send that suicide movie inside my head, where I participate because what's a kind of virtual reality movie, you know? They connect your behavior when they send those videos inside the dreaming cells. They know precisely what they're doing. Yes, they are angry because now an American soldier knows Sorry, I don't take any kind of military order. I don't know. Huh? Yes. And I have problems to find out that soldier, you know, who was there at that time. I don't know from which place, working place. It could be everywhere. You know, Rammstein, Pullach in Munich. Huh? Could be everywhere. Could also Brussels. Huh? I don't know. This working place. From where he. That was, perhaps it was a soldier from Incirlik. Because I was there in Incirlik as well. I want to see this place in Turkey, you know, because 2 years before I went to Turkey on vacation, I saw those dirty lies of the Bush family, of the entire Bush administration. Huh? Yes, where they spread those lies that Saddam Hussein is producing any kind of military chemical weapon, mass destructive chemical weapons, you know. And I want to see this place in Turkey, from where the American, this is an American Air Force base, from where the American targeting Baghdad, also with that bunker bomb, huh? Yes, only killing civilians. And the United Nations afterward, they found out, oh, Saddam didn't have any kind of chemical manufactories. He didn't work on things like that, you know. And then the Bush family, Mr. Bush, what he said, oh, I'm sorry for the result. They didn't found anything, but he had the capacity, perhaps, to work on that. Things like that, you know. And that Mr. Biden, that he also became president later. That time he was senator, and he also voted to attack Iraq. Huh? We couldn't tolerate Iraq, that they're working on chemical weapons, you know. No, that was the only thing which I connected to these things, you know. And people lose their life, you know. The German government is hiding everything about that case. It's not a case. They hide everything. Huh? And then they try to put you in a corner, that you are mental sick, that you belong in a mental hospital, or you got to swallow some drops or something. Yes, they really try to put you in a mental hospital for good. They want to get rid of you. But if they didn't succeed doing things like that, huh? You're still danger. You are still danger. You know? You are still able to put those Nazis behind prison bars as war crime criminals. If you read that, you know? But if the government doesn't help you, police doesn't help you, prosecutor doesn't help you, you don't exist, nothing exists on this case. Huh? Yes. And I don't know really how often. I mean, you know, a guy called Jose Delgado, huh? He is an electronic engineer, from Spain. He were working on bulls, and he placed a mine inside the bull, an electronic device, a microscopic chip inside the bull, and he provoked the bull, and then when the bull starting to attack, he used any kind of software or frequency, we don't know precisely, but he managed to paralyze the bull. The bull couldn't attack. He was paralyzed. Yes, he did these things. First in Spain. Then he left Spain. He went to the United States. And he were offered to have a project working on monkeys, on apes, doing the same things which he did with bulls. He were on Yale University, yes, and he started. He opened the neck of the apes, placed the embedded chip inside the ape, and was researching from his computer inside the ape. And later on, he represent what he can do to the students at the Yale University. He were preparing 2 apes at once. 2 apes. And then he built a connection from his computer to both apes. And he was simply push a button on his computer keyboard and execute and send signal or a software program inside the ape. He managed to kill both apes at once. Only push one button on his computer keyboard and both apes were gone. And the guests who were watching that, they also have people on the CIA and military, which were guests. And then, later, that Jose Delgado started working for the defense of the United States, whatever he's doing, And I found out that a company called IBM had embedded minds, embedded patented computer chips, which one local prison in the United States were placed inside prisoners, inside prisoners. And there they can do whatever they want with that prisoners from the computer. The company press, later when it turned out, when it became public, the press speaker of IBM say, yes, we did that, but we took those embedded chips out of the prisoners. That was the story. IBM, a patented mine. The first one, inside humans. And when you know precisely what you can do, I mean, computer weapon? Of course. Bioweapon? Of course. Gene weapon? As well. You know? Look at my tongue. After that, Nazi asked me to move in Ukraine. You know what he's doing since then? He terrorized day and night. He talking about child abuse. He talking about teenies. He talk about teenies. He know precisely I want to fuck teenies. You know? And then, what he said? Precisely the same behavior when he stimulate me into deep sleep. The same behavior like I was in Turkey. He tortured me inside the dreaming cells. Now he uses headset microphone to talk inside my listening cells and terrorize me inside the head day and night. That fucking German Nazi crew. Day and night. It's still ongoing. You know, you don't have any kind of survival chance against those Nazis. And if you have a neck chip inside your bag, you are unable to take that out by yourself. Because once you don't know where precisely. Is it up? You don't know where that mine is sitting. You know? And in my case, the German government, they organized the second one. When they start torturing me inside my dreaming cells, that was first time in 1987. You know who ran that machine that time? Mr. Manfred Wörner, German Defense Minister. In November 87, they sent a video which they self-programmed inside my dreaming cells. That was 87. Yes. And I forgot what I want to say. Yes, sometimes I have to apologize if things are not there anymore. You do, they gone. You don't find it. You don't find it again. Yes. But if things like that are ongoing and you lose your memory, starting getting demand, you know? Oh, that's because you have a genetic disease. It never was any kind of technology who make you going demand. Yes? And that means he knows precisely what he's doing. And he's guilty in first degree. He knows that. But, like I said, he wants to get rid of his victims. Send them on the front line. Put them in mental hospital if it doesn't work. Yes. And they don't stop. Because you are the victim. You are the victim and you are willing to testify under oath that things like that are happen and things like that were reality. Even if the government deny everything, deny the technique, deny medical research, yes, if you go to a chirurg, you know, you can find on a chirurg matter a lot of things, a lot of technology, medical research projects, you know, like you have an accident by bicycle, motorcycle, or car, or plane, doesn't matter. Let's say your hand, you damaging your hand, your finger doesn't work anymore. You see what I'm doing now? It's not a machine, you know? It's me, it's my will. And those people behind the computer, connected to your brain cells, they're looking where this happen inside the brain cells, and they isolate, they find that process, they isolate that region where this electronic process inside the brain cells are ongoing, you know, and then they isolate, and from that time they are able to move your hand whenever they want. They don't care about your motion, how you feel about when you move your legs. And that dirty Nazi, I wish him death sentence. I don't joke with things like that. You know, in 1996 he did another war crime. Yes, he moved my bones, my legs, my knees were smashing at the same time. Both bones, both knees were smashing such fast in my chest. You know, both knees smash on my chest. He stretched my body. He stretched my legs. Yes, and that was such painful. I hear myself screaming. I never had such pain in my entire life, you know, and no one in my neighborhood couldn't hear my screaming, because that Nazi had access to my voice muscles. He disconnects the function of my voice muscle. He isolated and took the voice muscle away. Can you imagine that? You can't talk anymore? The voice muscle are gone? Of course, he can do this whenever you want. Let's say you want to go in court and talk about that Nazi is still able to paralyze your voice muscle. You can't speak anymore. Yes. It's the same when you have an emergency. Yes, they can do things like that. But he is a fucking military Nazi. Paralyze voice muscles in a war. It's practical for the soldiers who are connected to the soldiers from the computer. If a bullet hit a soldier, yes, you don't want them to scream, Yes, he paralyzed the voice muscle. He can't scream, and by that way, he can't show the place of the enemies. You know, they're working on things like that, and the only thing those political Nazi rats got left, human beings does not have the right to developing their own consciousness. It must be ruled by precisely chirurgic instrument and managed Nazis who have access to all human functions, you know. And in Germany, no one knows precisely how many of that embedded chips were actually placed inside human beings. Huh? Yes. And there's another victim. My son. My son was born 1990. And he also became a victim. They organized. The same with me. Without knowledge they place these things. Huh? And then that mind is inside your body. And the baby, which is born, didn't do anything, never, wrong in his life or in her life. So, but if a baby of 2 years, what the fucking Nazis doing in children like that? What's they doing there? And what about the father? What about the emotion? Human beings doesn't have the right to hate Nazis who did things like that. And the minister, it is not the minister who doing things like that. These are the computer experts who work for the minister. So it means the minister are the Nazis who run those projects. So, you know, and the people behind the computer, of course, they're working like secret service. They don't have any kind of identity. You know, it's precisely like a movie, a low-budget movie. You know, it's called Untraceable, that movie. Perhaps you like to see that. It's original story, where a tortured victim apply to the interim minister, but the interim minister refused to search with the fastest machine there is to find that torturing Nazi. You know, the interim minister denied to investigate. And it's precisely that story. A low-budget film, you know, called Untraceable. So, and if you are a business owner, I mean you have a lot of employed and a lot of worker, and I heard you also doing things like that, working on medical things, on medical things. You also say, if you have voluntary people, it's okay, if you have success with things like that. But if you place things like that secretly inside humans and then are able to execute different kind of software programs, torturing in the smelling cells, torturing inside the listening cells, torturing inside the visible cells, torturing inside the dreaming cells. Yes? Huh? The worst torture is when the Nazi talk inside your head and force you to live together with you. You can't get rid of the Nazi, you know? Perhaps Mr. Putin shoots that fucking Nazi giant one day and we are all free again. We, Auschwitz citizen. You know, Mr. Zuckerberg, this is a fucking reality. This is no science fiction. You know, never listen to German politicians. Fight on court. And a fucking German politician, police, or whatever, try to block that account of tortured victim where you know precisely they're losing their life. Never let that do with you as business owner, you know, because also the victim, they got rights, even if they don't have the right in Germany, huh? But they try to reach, huh? Look at Geneva, huh? Geneva, they also don't care. The IIC in Den Haag, they don't react. The human right constitution in Strasbourg, yes, I have papers there, but I didn't finish yet. You know, I'm starting. I can start when those Nazis doesn't have access to my body anymore. You know, because they don't want that the truth about that technology comes up, that people knows about their war crimes. These are war crimes, like waterboarding in the dreaming cells. That also happened in 1993 and 1993. Yes? I was diving when they start that movie. Again the type, virtual reality. Huh? Yes. You find yourself diving underwater. Huh? Yes. And then you look in the water on the ground of the swimming pool. Huh? Yes. And you see something, a strange fish, like a virgin fish. You see, huh? And you observe. You are fascinated. You want to see more. Huh? And then you notice, huh? It's time to get up, to get some fresh air. And then you can dive again and watch more. Huh? But when you want to get up, you never reach. You never reach the fresh air. Huh? Yes. You see all the water, you know? You see all the bubbles in the water when you're diving, when you try to reach the oxygen, the air. But you never come up. And then the fucking Nazi movie is finished. Yes. And you know how you react. You never had such lung function in your entire life. The same with the voice muscles. You never hear you screaming like that. You never had pain like that in your entire life. Yes? And this waterboarding, waterboarding is classified as war crime, you know? And the victims of waterboarding of electronic waterboarding. Yes, we talk about electronic waterboarding, and not that somebody press your head underwater in a toilet or something. No, we talk about waterboarding on digital waterboarding, like I describe. You know, perhaps you can wish me some success, because I hate those postmodern Nazi country, and it's not medical, it's killing you. And the things they rob out of your brain cell is Nazis' computer property. Yes, you're a fucking camera slave, a programmed camera slave. And that wicked coward Nazi who want to send me in Ukraine, he said with his brown Nazi eggs behind his computer machine. You know, and he want to see something about war, winning images from a front line, and distribute or selling out the images he grabbed out of the visible cells. Yes, I hate those Nazis.